Get free tech advice for your business from O2 Gurus. Search O2 Business for more.
Hey guys, welcome to BTech. It's Basil here with the Samsung Galaxy S6, comparing it against a Samsung Galaxy S5. Last year's flagship, this year's flagship, totally different, even though they look head-on relatively similar. You've got a 5.1-inch screen across both, but this one is Quad HD Super AMOLED. It looks mind-blowing. You've also, as we flip it around, got a totally different finish. How much more expensive does it feel? Okay, you probably can't tell because it's covered in fingerprints right now, but that's just because I'm on the show floor, everyone's been using it. It really does feel good in the hand. It's got a premium metal body, Gorilla Glass for front and back, and ultimately a real step in the right direction for Samsung. Retained Samsung styling, even though the bottom does look a bit, well, very much like an iPhone. But it does look like we said, a Samsung Galaxy S5. So props to Samsung for modernizing their look and feel. If we take a look around both phones, you can see a 5.1-inch Super AMOLED Full HD display, like not too dissimilar to the PPIs you've seen on the HTC One M8 and M9, for example, about 430 to 440 or thereabouts. You've also got a front-facing camera, two buttons either side of the home button, the physical home button, fingerprint scanner, and two capacitive buttons. On the right-hand side, power button. Down at the base is a flap. That's because this is water resistant. Flaps are really annoying, and this is no different, and it really bugged us having to open this out every single time we wanted to charge our phone. To the left-hand side, you can see a volume rocker, up at the top, infrared blaster, and 3.5mm headphone jack. On the back, there is a removable back cover, which we'll take off in a sec. You've got a 16-megapixel camera and a heart rate monitor, underneath which sits a 2600 milliamp battery and a micro SIM card slot and a micro SD card slot too. You've got a teeny tiny loudspeaker there. Real shame it isn't stereo speakers, but unfortunately that's probably one of the only bugbears that the S6 doesn't remedy. Talking you around said S6, and you've got an f1.9 front-facing camera. Awesome, we've already blurbed about that screen. We love it. You've also got the two capacitor buttons either side of the home button, fingerprint scanner below that. Right-hand side, power button and a nano SIM slot. Down at the base, micro USB connector, mono speaker, and a 3.5mm headphone jack. This is completely taken from an iPhone. There is no getting around that. But the whole of the rest of the device doesn't really look too iPhone-esque. Volume buttons up at the top, infrared blaster. On the back, you've got that available in a range of colors, 16-megapixel camera, and a heart rate monitor. What's really great about the Samsung Galaxy S5 is also how thin it is and just how expensive it feels. No doubt it will be that expensive when it lands. The Samsung Galaxy that was the S6. The Galaxy S5, by contrast, just didn't feel too expensive. If we take a look inside, both of these phones pack Android and Android Lollipop no less. They pack similar versions of TouchWiz, but the S6's version just feels a whole lot less bloated. In fact, if we jump into the applications tray, one of the only apps that has Samsung pre-installed is S Health. You've got a few tools and smart remote control, but generally speaking, it's pretty much stock Android with a few omissions like Instagram and Messenger, and they're apps that we'd install anyway, so we're really surprised Samsung has stripped back so much. By contrast, the applications on here include Kids Mode, you've got Smart Remote. We've installed a fair few, but it really is quite extensive, and it just was a bit of a heavy device to use. You also have really loaded up widgets everywhere, whereas again, this just feels that little bit cleaner. And you do still have flipboard briefing, and we don't like that. But hey, you can't have everything. Both of these devices have pull-down notification trays, both have application trays, and the core user interface is the same. Pinch out and you can change your home screens, etc. Ultimately, therefore, you can have as many Android applications as you want on here, and Android apps are awesome, so that's going to give you loads of leeway in terms of music, games, etc. If we take a look at the cameras, 16 megapixels, 16 megapixels. f1.9, I think it's an f2.2 or f2.4 lens, not 100% sure on the aperture, but this doesn't have image stabilization, and this does. What's more, there are a whole load of smart camera features surrounding the S6. For example, it launches in 0.7 seconds by simply double tapping the home button. It also takes pictures mega quickly. My hand was shaking, and you can see the quality of that picture. Instantly better than the S5, a camera that worked really well in good light, but not so well in low light. We look forward to seeing how the Galaxy S6 does perform in low light when we get a review device in, and frankly speaking, I can't wait. If we take a look at the camera user interfaces, can jump through, you can see Samsung simplified it a whole load, and if I swipe down, jump into the mode. Rather than have a scrolling list, you've got a very iconographic list there, very similar to HTC's cameras. You do have the option to download more options effectively. If we jump out of that, we can also see in modes actually there is a pro mode. This gives you the option to tweak white balance, etc. But what you do lose is that pretty overwhelming grid of things that just, well, kind of did our heads in a bit. Both phones shoot 4K video, full HD video, and will do a decent job, like we said, in good light. We really look forward to seeing how that optical image stabilization works in video. As far as what's inside goes, you've got Qualcomm Snapdragon 801 processor with 2 GB of RAM in the Samsung Galaxy S5. It was zippy for about a week to 2 weeks of using it, but after that it slowed down a bit too much. Samsung says lag is gone on the Samsung Galaxy S6 because you've got an Exynos octa-core processor in here. 4 of the cores are clocked at 2.1 gig, 4 clocked at 1.5 gig. In addition, it's DDR4 RAM and 3 gig of it, no less. That's going to be more readily available to everything you need it to do, so it should, according to Samsung, when paired with all the enhancements that they've made to the user interface, make everything run nice and lag-free. Now, batteries. We could remove the battery and swap it out for another battery on the S5, and that was something that we did and loved. We do that on our Note as well. We just really like removable batteries. So why has Samsung gone and scrapped it? Well, it's because the Samsung Galaxy S6 supports a new fast charging that is way faster than anything we've seen before. Just 10 minutes of charge will get you 4 hours on this thing. Crazy. You can also charge it in half the time of an iPhone. That's 0 to 100%. Again, crazy. Look forward to testing out if that is real or not. Putting that down, 2600 milliamp removable battery. Very little else needs to be said about it other than it wasn't big enough and it didn't do a good enough job. We kind of told a small tale there. That's rounded up to 2600. It's actually 2550 milliamps. As for what you can get inside in terms of memory, 32, 64 or 128 gigabyte capacities for the Samsung Galaxy S6. This is available in 16 gigabytes, maybe 32 in some countries, but we really like the fact that you can get so much memory in here, internal memory as well, because if you're a gamer, you're going to want all that internal memory. Sure, you can expand this up to 128 gig via micro SD card, but you can't use that micro SD card memory for a lot of applications. Ultimately, therefore, these are two great phones. The Samsung Galaxy S5 was water resistant and Samsung was testing the waters with that. But it wasn't a very, very good finish. It didn't feel as expensive as it was, and it left us wanting. We don't think, based on our first impression, that at least in hand feel, the Samsung Galaxy S6 will leave us wanting. It feels expensive, it looks good. Maybe it attracts fingerprints a touch too readily, but we can forgive that because Samsung really has made something that wows us. As good as the One M9? Watch this space. When we get both in side by side, we will no doubt let you know. But in the meantime, we hope you've enjoyed our video. If you have, click that like button. If you like BTech in general, click subscribe. And of course, if you have any questions about either phone, just fire them in the comments section below. Thanks for watching.